Good morning, and thanks for joining us here at SVN Desert Commercial Advisors. We are happy to have our monthly Lunch and Learn series today focused on debt service coverage ratio and how you can actually hurdle a lender's annual review. So we have a lot of um, we've gotten a lot of feedback from clients over the years that sometimes they run into little issues with their lender when they ask for their annual financials for their annual review. And so we thought it would be helpful to put together a review on how to be a little proactive and be one step ahead and being able to provide to your lender the information that they are looking for that paints you in an accurate picture for the lender so that you can pass your annual review that the lender does every year. So we're happy to have with us a couple of speakers from Desert Financial Advisors. Before I get into that, we want to cover a little bit of our highlights that we just released on our fourth quarter multifamily market dashboard, which gives you an overview of our Phoenix multifamily market. And in this case, for the end of the year, we compared year over year. So when we look at our statistics for the whole year of 24 compared to the whole year of 23, on the 10 to 99 units, we saw that sales volume was down. We also had the average price per unit down about 26%. The average price per square foot down 30%. So as you can see there, we are pulling back, and of course this has contributed to a multiple of factors, but also just including the fact that we have a lot of supply with increased units coming online that are being built, the Class A properties, and that's exceeding the demand that we have right now. And then when we look at the 100 units properties, sales volume was actually up year over year, and the price per unit picked up a couple percentage points there. So it was nice to see those larger properties actually keeping their value year over year overall. Some highlights on some of the top transactions in terms of price per unit that we saw during last year. The Smith and Rio sold last year for $342,000 a door. The farmhouse on Estrella was $306,000 a door, and the Crofton at Shealy Farms was $278,000 a door. Those were our top price per unit transactions over the last 12 months that we saw here in this market. When we get into the 10 to 99 units, our top price tags on a per door basis were the Fairmount Villas at $233 a door, Don Carlos Apartments at $226 a door, and then Orinoco Apartments at $211 per door. So that gives you an idea of kind of where we're at with some of our top transactions that were remodeled and sold during this last year. This is a sub-market report that we put out in our dashboard newsletter, so be sure and take a look at this to really get into some granular level detail. But we do break it out by sub-market in our Phoenix overall market. So it gives you an idea of vacancy rates, the rents, the rent growth, the units that are being delivered in that market, and how many units are under construction is an overall picture for the market that you could have your own properties in and be interested in. This is a view that we do that shows the rents year over year by asset class. So it's kind of like Class A, Class B, Class C. You'll see the breakdown there. Overall, the market is about 2% lower on rents year over year. So it's certainly a time where when apartments come up for renewal, you really need to decide if it's worth doing a rent increase and knowing how you benchmark compared to your peers and things, because certainly we're not in an inflationary rent environment right now in our current market. A few opportunities that we have available for sale. I want to go over these. If you see anything that is of interest to you, please reach out, and happy to give you more information. This property is a piece of land that we have available in Tempe for 13 townhomes to be built. The price is $1.3 million, so $100,000 per townhome for the dirt, and it also includes all the plans, and it is permit ready, ready to build. This is a property we have available in Glendale at 59th Avenue and Bethany Home Road, and it's land for 55 apartment units at $1.6 million. And that is ready to go as well and permit ready. So if you're interested in that, let us know. We have another property in Glendale that is at 59th Avenue and Missouri Avenue. and that is land for 33 townhomes, and that is permit ready, currently in escrow. If you're interested in being on the backup list for that, please let me know. And then some non-multifamily land. We have some self-storage land for basically at the 202 Thomas and Higley freeway frontage, and just a little over $10 a square foot there for self-storage land, which is a nice opportunity. So if you're interested in that, please let me know. And then of course we have other investment opportunities for multifamily that if you're interested in being in a passive position, reach out. We can connect you with developers who are working on projects who are looking for equity, and you write the check, you become an investor and in a passive role, and they are looking to build these multifamily development opportunities in our Phoenix market. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce David. David Jones is with Desert Financial, and he has been a great friend and business partner over the years, and we've been happy to do some transactions together. And I know he will give you some great tips and advice. So without further ado, we'll turn it over to David. Thank you, David.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's meeting. Actually, up first, we're going to have Kathy Kelly. She is also with Desert Financial Credit Union. She has been with the credit union for quite a while and has a lot of experience here in the market, in the commercial real estate sector, primarily investment commercial, but also deals with owner occupied. So I will have Kathy come up and she'll start our presentation on the debt service coverage and how that process works with us as a lender, Desert Financial, which is very similar to other lenders out there. So enjoy. Right here.
Good morning or afternoon. I don't know. So as David said, we're going to be talking about debt service coverage, as how to calculate it, what the lenders are looking for, and also more importantly, like how to communicate with your lender if maybe you're falling short, or just kind of how the lenders take a look at debt service coverage, why we take a look at it, and how to communicate that if you either are falling short or you don't want to fall short, and what actually goes into that calculation. So today we're coming from a perspective of, let me see, I'm going to do this right. Oh, okay, there we go. So today we're coming basically from commercial real estate, investment commercial real estate. It's very similar to owner occupied, but there's one difference. The income on owner occupied obviously is from the operating company that actually occupies the business. However, today we're going to be focusing on investment property where the income comes from the tenants, primarily the tenants. So what is it and how to calculate it? As you know, the debt service coverage is a measure of the cash flow and your ability to pay the debt or make your debt obligation. The actual formula, as you see on bullet point 2, is net operating income divided by the annual debt service. What we look at, or what underwriters look at when they get your annual P&L on the properties, is they take the net income, the gross rental income, but they also take all income on the property. So they're looking at anything that you have on your P&L and you want to include it all, which would be like rent, laundry service, pet deposits, security packages, vending machines, any type of gross income that you have coming from that commercial property you want to put on your P&L. And then to get to the net income, then obviously you all know on your P&L we have the operating expenses. And that is all the expenses included in that property, such as anywhere from management fees to maintenance to any expenses that you that you charge to that business, to the commercial property. Obviously, I think most of you are investors in investment or in multifamily, but for those borrowers that we have on other properties such as triple net, that calculation is a little bit different because as you know, the tenants pay for the operating expenses. And it just really depends on how they put it on their P&L, whether it's a reimbursement or they just don't show it at all and they pay them directly, those operating expenses directly. So debt service then is the gross income minus the operating expenses, and then we divide it by the annual mortgage, which is the principal and interest both. Okay. So as an investor, you can use your debt service coverage to, and this is how the lenders look at it, as how well financially your property is doing. So if it's about 1.0, then 1 times debt service coverage, you're just barely breaking even there. You're what it tells you is that you have enough, you're making enough to cover your debts. Now, nobody goes into business, all of that, buying a property and everything just to hit the 1.0. So anything above that just indicates that you can cover the debt, as well as any incidentals. You can handle any incidentals. And then of course below that just indicates to a lender that there's a little bit of risk there. And that is why that we look at that. That's why lenders have minimum thresholds. So when you hear that a lender says, okay, we don't do anything less than 1.20 or 1.25. Sometimes there's lenders out there that will ask for a 1.35 times. In the past, I've seen as much as 1.65. Luckily,